Absolutely. I've got some bad news for you, Gazza.
Oh, go on.
Peugeot's not starting.
Oh, no. Pourquoi?
I don't know. I've just been given a note that says that it was an extra runner, so if I hadn't said anything, nobody would have known, really, would they? But I knew you were looking forward, as indeed was I, to seeing Nicolas Minassian in the Peugeot 905, which he did put onto pole position yesterday. It was a great qualifying session we had in the way, wasn't it?
Dare I suggest that actually it may be a more competitive race without?
Well, you can, but that doesn't alter the fact that you and I both wanted, lots of others wanted to see the Peugeot.
Yes, correct.
And I think what's going to happen, well, I say unfortunately, we're probably going to see in these dry conditions, which are great, yes, it means you don't get wet like we all did yesterday, but what it does mean is that Gareth Evans in the Sauber Mercedes is probably going to dominate the race. So we're going to, what would have been different was to have Nicolas Minassian, a modern-day professional driver, in a car that would recall, this is the great why it's a shame not to have it here, won't dwell on it much more than this, but of course it was 1992 when Derek Warwick, the president of the BRDC, won Le Mans and won the World Sports Car Championship driving one of those Peugeots, so it's a huge shame that the car's not here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, we've got 3 Lancias. Hey,
on you go.
What?
I was going to say, yes, on you go. Yes, and 3 Lancias as well.
Right, okay,
not Alphas, but it's the closest you're going to get.
They come from the same factory, or more or less. Right, so the entry you'll find on page 30 of the programme. Today, car number 4 is being driven by Robin Ward, who's just topped out of the D-Type Jaguar. We've got an extra runner that's important, number 41, running in Class C1. It's David Mercer, or Mercer David if you do it in the programme style. GB, Spice SE90C, 1990 is the year, 3,500cc is the Cosworth DFL engine. It's blue and white, and the grid has on pole position number 70 with the demise of Nicolas Minassian's Peugeot. In fact, it was number 17 that took pole position today. That car's being driven by Christophe Dansenborg. Tomorrow it's being driven by Hervé Ragu, who put the car at the very end of qualifying onto pole position. The glorious Jägermeister, the orange Jägermeister liveried the Porsche. And with it at the front of the grid, number 62, Gareth Evans in the Mercedes, the Sauber Mercedes C9. On the second row, we've got number 27, Steve Tandy, in one of the Nissan R90 CKs, and alongside him, number 5 is Roger Wills in the first of the 3 Lancias. And I'm sure Roger, having had a pretty busy day, would like to round it off with a win, and he could well do so in that Lancia. 27 and 5 on the second row. The third row, David Mercer, the extra runner I gave him the Spice. And the wonderful car from Australia, the Viscandia, driven by its current owner, Paul Stubber, a car that was driven by John Bowe to win the Australian Sports Car Championship back in the late 80s. It's a beautifully turned out car, that, and really driven well by Peter Stubber, who's not done that much racing until he brought that car over to the UK to race this year. On the fourth row, we've got number 102, the Greeks, the C2 cars, driven by Peter Merrick. Andy Merrick, his son, not going to be around this weekend to drive. And also on the fourth row, number 6 is Rupert Cleveley in the next of the Lancias. So 102 and 6 is the fourth row. The fifth row, number 12, is Russell Kempnick in the Iseki Porsche 956. And beside it is number 22, and that is the only Jaguar in the entry, I'm sorry to say. We'd like to have more Jaguars, but only number 22 is here, Richard Ayres' car, the Jaguar XJR 16 with the 3-litre twin-turbo Austin Rover V6 engine in the back of it that Tom Walkinshaw breathed some life into. So that's on the fifth row, 12 and 22. The next row, number 9, is Nick Chester in his Spice SE88, running a 4.5-litre Oldsmobile engine, and beside him we've got number 4, Robin Ward, today in the Lancia LC2. Number 9 and number 4, the 6th row. And the 7th row, we've got 33 in the Tic Tac Mints liveried Porsche. One of the fascinating things about Porsches at Le Mans in the Group C days was all the different types of livery, and to see a whole row after row after row of these cars lining up at the start of Le Mans was a fantastic sight. You get a flavour for what Le Mans is all about if you haven't been there by watching this race. So the cars coming now to the end of Vale into Club with the orange Jägermeister car. Don't expect Christophe Dansenborg to be as quick as Hervé Ragu, but nonetheless he went well. They're getting a second formation lap, so I can carry on giving you the whole grid. It was always intended they should have a second formation lap. So we've got on the 7th row, as I said, the Tic Tac Mints liveried Porsche number 33 of Henrik Lindberg, and beside him number 164, Adrian Watt, with the Group C2 Argo Chevrolet, 33 and 164, row 7. The 8th row, number 28, the next of the Nissans, is the car of Kent Abrahamsson, the Swedish enthusiast who began with chevrons of all kinds, and now has moved on to Group C cars. And beside him, number 111. If that car's solved its electrical misfire, which it had yesterday, Mike Donovan will fly. He had a big dice with the Aston Martin when the Aston Martin AMR1 at Donington Park earlier on this year, battling with Andy Merrick in the Aston Martin. Mike had a crash in the Group C race at Le Mans, but the car has been repaired. It had an electrical misfire yesterday, but that will go from the 8th row. Mike Donovan in number 111, so 28 and 111 on the 8th row. The 9th row, number 30, is Peter Garrett with the other Nissan, number 30, and alongside him, number 71, is Georg Schalgren with the Courage. The Courage, the French car from the factory of Yves Courage, and enjoyed some reasonable success at Le Mans in the Group C era and before. 30 and 71, row 9. And on the 10th row, we have number 112, Jonathan Fay with the Tiger, and beside him, number 140 with the other Jaguar, an early Group C Jaguar. This is the XJR 5B of Don Meyer. So that's the grid. Qualifying times don't really mean very much, because when they went out to qualify at the end of yesterday, the track was really rather wet, and it was looking at one stage that we might even get the cars to qualify, but in the end there was enough of the rain stopped and the track began to dry out a little. But the grid, I think the fact that we've got number 17 on pole position, out qualifying in the end even the Peugeot, Nicolas Menassi on the Peugeot 905, is a testament to the ability of the Belgian driver Hervé Rigoux. And now Silverstone TV getting really arty and showing us the outline of a bird and the sun setting. This is the cue for Gary to get all lyrical again, isn't it? But he's not going to. He's having his cup of tea. So, Chris, the cars have gone past you, have they?
Just making their way in towards Beckett's now. It's a wonderful sight. They've got the lights on as well. And I always remember last year here, my first time at the Classic, this race on the Saturday evening. Pretty much as it is now, the sun setting low. In the middle of the race, we had that, you know, when the sun gets really low and more of a burnt orange colour right over the outlook towards the Wellington Straits, and the silhouettes of the cars as they headed up there. Just a fantastic image, and I think we're going to get more of the same with this perfect weather, and hopefully a great race with a very decent number of cars on the grid.
Yes, a 30-minute race it's going to be, and one of the taglines of the Silverstone Classic, rocking and racing. Well, we've had the rocking on the picture just there. The racing is about to get underway. And some of these cars, or many of the cars in their original livery, just looking at the Courage there, which you haven't actually had a chance to say very much about, but that's in its original livery. The car that the Yves Courage factory is at La Sarthe, very much a local car to Le Mans. So here we go then, Christoph Danzenborg in the Jägermeister Porsche, and Gareth Evans in the Sauber Mercedes, in a Virgin state really, a silver car with no spongy bonnet at all. A bit out of place in Group C it does, but the car's now heading up towards Abbey for the first time in great formation there. What a wonderful light. That is sort of mini Le Mans grid coming up towards Abbey, and the Sauber Mercedes does take the lead as you might have expected, but the first of the Lancers coming through, and oh dear, there's a bit of contact and spins, and we've got 2 or 3 cars, and oh dear, oh dear, it all looked too good to be true. And I think most cars will survive. One's gone into the gravel. I'm afraid I can feel a safety car going on, but for the moment we've got the Jaguar pointing in the wrong direction, Richard Eyre. We've got the number 4 Lancia of Robin Ward pointing in the wrong direction here at Abbey. Looking out of the window, what else have we got? We've got 2 cars.
We got Paul Stubber just made contact with Roger Wills for second place, and he's just spun onto the grass on the exit on the outside of the corner onto the Wellington Straight. He spins it back again, but on the outside of entry, he's dropped almost to the back of the pack now.
Well, now, yes, Richard Eyre getting a helpful push. One Marshall, it shows that one strong Marshall has got number 22. Richard Eyre's Jaguar fired up again, but I think the number 4, Robin Ward, is going no further. So Richard Eyre is on his way again. Out in front is the... we get 3 Marshalls on the case. Yes, Robin Ward's got going again. So am I right in thinking that everybody has left Abbey? Although, in fact, Robin Ward is going to park behind the barriers and is out of the race before he's even really got through the first corner. So, Chris, you've got the cars at Beckett's.
Yeah, leader's about to make his way, the Mercedes it is. Gareth Evans onto the Hanger Straight for the first time. Roger Wills second. Christoph Danzenberg from pole position is down to third. Rupert Cleverly in the Lanciers come up to 4th place. And Steve Tandy, number 27, is 5th.
we've got one car left behind, and it's one of the Nissans. It's the number 28 car of Kent Abrahamson, and the snatch vehicle is going into action, but I think we're probably going to have the safety car. Oh, here comes the leader. So the Kent Abrahamson car is off the track. It's just that the double wave yellows for Gareth Evans, who doesn't seem to me to slow down at all, nor does second place number 5 Roger Wills. Christoph Danzenborg in the Jägermeister Porsche comes through in third place. In fourth place is the next of the Lanciers, number 6 in the hands of Rupert Cleveley. But I must say the leader didn't seem to slow down at all, despite the vigorously waved yellow flags. You got them, Chris?
Yeah, he's just charging past me through entry now, and it's further back where the action is in the battle for fourth place on the way into the loop, and a move there. And it was to get through into, well, behind Tandy now is the number 111 car of Mike Donovan. So Mike Donovan getting past Peter Merrick with 3 spins in the wet yesterday, and he's already quickly onto the tail of Steve Tandy on the way into Brooklands, and I think he's going to get past him too.
We got the start here, and what seemed to happen was somebody tagged the back of the Peter Merrick Spice, I think it was, wasn't it? And he was tapped sideways into other cars, also David Mercer, I think, was involved in that too. So this is the other angle. It's difficult to tell from that angle, but we reckon that David Mercer was the one who triggered all that, and it's unfortunately... Oh, it's number 4. Yes, it was. Sorry, he was the victim. So it was Robin Ward who tagged David Mercer. There's David Mercer's car now. So not David's fault. I'm afraid he's lost the windscreen of his car. It's popped out, and the car limping back to the pits. But it was number 4 that in the congestion as they went into the first corner that seemed to tag David Mercer. He may have made not a particularly quick start. So we've got the leader coming into club corner for the second time. Gareth Evans in the Sauber Mercedes, and yellow flags are in now here, so they can race as fast as they like. And Roger Wills in the Lancia, which he's not raced very much. Roger Wills is charging after the Mercedes, so we could have a Mercedes Lancia battle here, and the gap between the two of them 2.8 seconds, although the Mercedes slightly quicker on that lap, on the third lap, than Roger Wills in the Lancia was. And we've also got closing up there number 27, the yellow Nissan, Steve Tandy, closing up onto the tail of Christoph Danzenborg. They're with you now, Chris.
Very much so, isn't he? Yeah, he's basically on his tail now as they come in towards Village. The two leaders head under the bridge, into the sunset, up towards Brooklands, and coming out of the loop now is this third place battle, and Christoph Danzenborg has got Steve Tandy breathing down his neck, has a little look at the inside, can't get through there. Out of Aintree, onto the Wellington straight they go. Danzenberg's got enough breathing space not to come under a fire at Brooklands, I don't think.
Right, that's for third place. We're out in front. We've got Gareth Evans leading Roger Wills. Still got 21.5 minutes. Well done to all the marshals who cleared those cars away from Abbey so quickly. They kept the race going without the need for a safety car. So going into Copse Corner, it's Evans to Wills. And we've got, still going well, Christoph Danzenborg, who's a fair bit of experience of racing powerful Formula 1 cars. So he knows how to handle this sort of machinery, turning into Copse Corner. But Steve Tandy there, closing up on him in the Nissan. And Mike Donovan, the leading Group C2 driver in the Spice, not that far behind them. Coming through Maggots now, Chris, that fight for third place. Yeah,
third, fourth, and then from near the back of the grid, Mike Donovan in the 111 car, catching up all the time. And he's very quick coming through Maggots and into Beckett. Visibly closes up to them. You can have the three of them together at the end of this lap, I think.
Yes, Mike Donovan, very, very quick driver. And coming out of Chapel onto Hanger Straight. He's got a Lancia, Rupert Cleveley behind in number 6, but I don't think he's catching him. Peter Merrick is in 7th place. He's worth keeping an eye on. And we've got the change has now happened for third place. So as they went into Stowe Corner, the Steve Tandy Nissan gets through, and going through the club corner. Rather more power, I think, probably available from the Nissan, certainly for a sprint race, than there is for the Jägermeister Porsche, which now has right behind it Mike Donovan turning through Abbey, right up there behind it. May well happen in before your eyes. Here they come then for fourth place. It is now with Steve Tandy up to third.
Yeah, he's thinking about it. Tight to the line on the way to Village, looks at the inside, but he was only ever a luck because he was still 2 or 3 car lengths back. So the back chap now going through the loop, and running wide here is Christoph Danzenborg. So it could well be that Mike Donovan in the Spice will get through here. No, because even on the outside line, Dansenberg is able to fend him off.
Yeah, quite a handy driver, Christoph Dansenberg, so he's doing a good job using this Porsche. He couldn't keep the Lancia and the Nissan behind him, but then this is a Porsche. There we've got the car of David Mercer in the pits, with the windscreen missing, as I said. In fact, remarkably, most cars are still running, aren't they? Despite the incidents on those first few corners. Out of Luffield through Woodcote go the 3rd, 4th and 5th place cars. Peter Merrick is in 7th place. Russell Kempnick is in 8th place in the number 12 Porsche. In 9th place is Henrik Lindberg in the number 33 Porsche, and in 10th place in the Viscandia, number 21, Peter Stubber. You've got the 3rd, 4th cars at Beckett's.
Yeah, and actually, having come under fire at the loop, by the time they get to Beckett's, Dansenberg has pulled back away, edged back away from Mike Donovan, so he's doing a good job in the Porsche, and he'll exit now at Chapel Curve and onto the Hanger Straight without having the man right behind him. So
down Hanger Straight, the Spice may have dropped back a little bit, but I think he's coming back once more at the Jägermeister car, with Rupert Cleavely going nicely in his Lancia number 6. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, Gareth Evans continuing to put in quicker and quicker laps. 3.5 seconds is his advantage now over Roger Wills in the leading Lancia. There's the Jägermeister Porsche in 4th place. It's difficult to tire of watching these cars. And down in the pits, Alan has news for us.
You're right, Titch. Yeah, I'm just making a bit of a plea. David Mercer got out of the car. He was naturally pretty charged up and pretty disappointed about the damage at the front of the car, the side of the car, because one of the cars went up the side of the car just over here, as you can see. The team already working to take the front of the car, but the impassioned plea from David Mercer is, could the marshals at Chapel please look after the windscreen and let him have it later? He wants his windscreen back.
Yes, I thought you were going to say, Alan, has anybody got a Spice here with a spare windscreen they can take from it? No, but...
David Mercer and I go back a long way, Titch, my local dentist,
yes,
you know.
I know the Orpington Mafia have to stick together,
Correct.
don't they? Yes,
Correct.
yeah. So, yeah, the Orpington tax haven as well, I don't believe, Alan. So, after hearing what you were prepared to spend at the Silverstone auctions today...
I haven't heard about that.
Oh, no, I know you haven't.
No one's told me.
No, we've heard about it.
What have I bid for?
Well, exactly. Come on, tell us.
40.
Tell us. What? Yes.
How jolly.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Can I take part in the parade tomorrow?
We'll deliver it to you later.
Thank you very
Richard
much.
assures us he'll make it available for you.
How jolly.
Yeah. So, David Mercer, marshals, please. Is it Chapel, was it? It popped out.
Yeah,
so.
Chapel, yeah.
Okay. So, please hang on to the windscreen, because David would like it back.
David wants it back, yeah.
Going to use it tomorrow. Right, Mike Donovan, now right up onto the tail. Looking at another Spice here, number 111, the SC88 of Mike Donovan, right on the tail of the Jägermeister Porsche as they went through Beckett's that time, coming down into Stowe Corner. And Steve Tandy yet to go through in 3rd place. We had the first 2 through. The gaps come down a little on that lap, 2.7 seconds, 16.25 minutes to go. So Roger Wills has closed up a little bit on Gareth Evans on that lap, although they weren't doing quite as quick laps as they had done earlier on. How's the Viscandia getting on? Peter Stubber still in 10th place in the Australian car. The 4th and 5th place cars coming across the start-finish line now. Christoph Dansenberg still ahead of Mike Donovan, who enjoys his battles with Group C1 cars, but he's not been able to get through there. Steve Tandy not getting away ahead of the 2 of them. They're coming up towards you now, Chris.
Yeah, Steve Tandy in the 3rd place car turns left through the loop, turning right through Village is the 4th place car. Christoph Dansenberg still fending off Mike Donovan. The way that Mike caught him up 3 or 4 laps ago, you'd have thought he'd have breezed past, but it's been a good fight being put up here by the Porsche driver to keep the position. Further back, you mentioned the Viscandia, Paul Stubber, number 21, who had a great start to the race until he got sent into that spin. On the tail of Henrik Lindberg now in the number 33 Porsche.
Of course, he started on the 3rd row of the grid, which helped matters, but then he had that spin, as you say. He's right behind the tic-tac Porsche at the moment. That's another great thing about the Group C Porsches. You can identify them easily, not so much by reference to their competition numbers, but by the particular sponsor that they have. This is always a strong feature of the livery of Group C Porsches and the teams, and the various independent teams that ran them. Bouncing over the curbs there was the Viscandia, but they're right on the tail of Henrik Lindberg's Porsche. They're in 9th and 10th places. He's going to have a look on the inside. Go for it, Peter. You're going to squeeze through. He got very close to giving it everything to get through there, but at the last minute decided it's a bit of a tight squeeze there. Don't want to damage the car again, so he's following Henrik Lindberg through Luffield at the moment. Henrik Lindberg in the Porsche. And the Viscandia there just behind as they go onto the national pit straight. Meanwhile, the leader comes past me here at Abbey, 4.2 seconds ahead of Roger Wills. So the Lancia getting a bit stuck in traffic there, which cost him at least, well, over a second, in fact, 1.5 seconds, I would say. What have you got over with you? You've got the Viscandia and the Tic Tac car with you.
Yeah, I have, yeah, and they're coming up behind Richard Eyre and the number 22 Jaguar. I'm just wondering about Rupert Cleverley's pace in the number 6 Lancia as well. He seems to be going quite well at the moment and getting closer to the tail of Mike Donovan.
Last time around, he was a tenth of a second quicker, his lap time, so not a huge change there. There's Mike Donovan through Abbey. Rupert Cleverley, no, I would say he's under more danger of being passed by Peter Merrick. Peter Merrick in the number 102 Spice, right up behind the Lancia now as they come into your sight.
Yes, he is. He's going well. It's going with him, so they're working pretty well together as they come through. Donovan just going under the Wellington Straight, just coming into Aintree now is the number 6 Lancia of Rupert Cleverley, who's edged back away again, actually, through this section of the course and pulling back away from Peter Merrick.
So we continue to watch the Porsche Viscandia battle, which is continuing to go on for 9th and 10th places. Gareth Evans in the Sauber Mercedes leading with 7 laps completed, 13.25 minutes to go. Roger Wills second, Steve Tandy third. He's just done his personal best lap. He's lapping a fair bit quicker than Christoph Dansenborg in 4th place, who's just done his personal best lap as well, but there's 3 seconds difference in the lap times there. Mike Donovan still shadowing Christoph Dansenborg in the Jägermeister car, I think. Chris, is that right?
That's right, yeah, and the Viscandi's just gone past him. It's fallen away a little bit from Henrik Lindberg in the Porsche this time.
Yes, ever since he made that attempt to pass going into the corner they're going into now at Brooklands, he has not really recovered the lost ground from that. So dropping away slightly, the Australian Viscandia. And Rupert Cleverley in the Lancia, still holding off Peter Merrick in the number 102 car. There we got the second place car, Roger Wills through. The gap's gone up again, 5.7 seconds it is now. There we see Peter Merrick closing up on the Lancia number 6 of Rupert Cleverley. They're going down through the Vale. They're in 6th and 7th places, coming into Club Corner now. Spectacular looking cars, these Lancia LC2s, raced by Riccardo Patrese. He was their lead driver, but also by Andrea De Cesaris and by Piercarlo Gonzani, and mainly Italian drivers, but Bob Wallach also had a chance to drive the cars from time to time. The late lamented French Le Mans specialist, except he never won Le Mans, but he was very quick in all kinds of Group C races. And so we have the Viscandia dropping back now. He's got a problem coming into Stowe Corner. Maybe some problem there, maybe heading for the pit lane. So that's the Viscandia in 10th place. There we have the number 6 Martini Lancia. Sexy looking car in that sexy livery that Martini always produce. So the order kind of settled at the moment. The battles have kind of been resolved. Christoph Dansenborg a couple of seconds clear Mike Donovan. But down in the pits, Alan's found another way to spend his money.
Richard Eyre has just been into the pit lane. He's left now. The team have worked on the car. He was bumped up the back, as you saw, and then the car wouldn't restart. It's now restarted. He's left the pit lane. He's back on track.
So Richard Eyre, yes, a long way down now in 17th place, I'm afraid, the Jaguar. Gareth Evans comes through Abbey. 9 laps completed. He's just done a new fastest lap of the race. And as he came past the pits there, Roger Wills moved right over to the pit wall as if to try and let his team hear something about the car, I suppose. He's not going to be able to shout anything at them or throw anything at them or them give him anything, but certainly the car veered over towards the pit wall. And Roger Wills there in 2nd place. Steve Tandy 3rd, half a minute behind the leader now in his yellow Nissan, turns through Abbey. Well clear, having just lapped on Miles's XJR5 Jaguar, well clear of Christoph Dansenborg in 4th place. Courage seems to be going well, but it's of course a lap down, the Courage number 30. But the leader coming into Copse Corner. Gareth Evans driving an immaculate race. and heading into Beckett's for the 10th time.
And heading up on the other side of me, heading up towards Brooklands, the gap after a bit of stagnation, as you said, it started to come down now. Christoph Danzenberg, the number 17 Porsche, the Jägermeister car, he's been caught once again by Mike Donovan in the Spices, so they're just up at Luffield now.
I'm also going to suggest that Steve Tandy Christoph Danzenberg did a 1:58. Yes, last time around Steve Tandy did a slow lap, so that gap has come down a bit between the Nissan in 3rd place and the Jägermeister Porsche in 4th place. We've got 9 minutes to go, and the leader comes into club corner, completing his 10th lap in a moment. Well clear of Roger Wills, but let's just monitor this for 3rd and 4th places. Certainly it was a slow lap by Steve Tandy. It may have been because of traffic.
No, I agree. He's lost more time, I think, on this lap as well, and I'm pretty sure it's not because of traffic, so he's been reeled in, and Mike Donovan's reeling them all in. Yeah,
well, there we are. This could be a race for 3rd place that's going to build up as the Porsche, pursued by Mike Donovan in the Spice, close up on the 3rd place Nissan. Steve Tandy then still in 3rd place. But his pace, well, if you think that as well, Chris, it's not just the one slow lap. Maybe the Nissan has a problem. So there's the Jägermeister car, still going very strongly in the hands of Christoph Danzenberg. Oh, no, thought he might be running a bit too wide there. Mike Donovan taking a tight line through the corner. So over the line goes the Nissan, a 2-minute lap. But Christoph Danzenberg also doing a 2-minute 1 lap, so he was slightly slower on that lap, although he'd been quicker on the previous one. Mike Donovan quicker than the pair of them. 1:59, he's lapping 2 seconds quicker on that lap than Christoph Danzenberg. No wonder he's closed right up onto the tail of the Jägermeister car. Back with you, Chris.
Yes, honestly, he caught them up very quickly. Couldn't do anything about Danzenberg. Dropped back quite a way at one point, but he's just shot up to the back of him now. So Steve Tandy going up the Wellington straight. Out of entry, down comes Danzenberg. Quickly followed by Donovan. The blinding sun has turned into that deeper orange now, so the visibility a lot better for the drivers. It's time to get your cameras out because it's that beautiful sunset over Brooklands.
Got the Momo car about to be lap number 30. That is the Nissan of Peter Garrett. Tend to associate the Momo livery also with Porsche 962s, but they then moved on to sponsor the Nissan. That's Peter Garrett's car, keeping out of the way as the leaders go through. And into Copse Corner turns Steve Tandy. There is Christoph Danzenberg in 2nd place in that group. And Alan, what are you going to tell us now?
That Adrian Watt has been in the pit lane as well, car number 164. He thought he had a left rear puncture. The team have looked over it. He hasn't, so happy days, he's back on track.
Did you agree with their verdict or their diagnosis?
Absolutely, Tish, in fact, they consulted me before they released him back on track.
Well, I thought it was very important that they would do so, Alan. Thank you very much for that.
I was joking.
So the Steve Tandy car in 3rd place. The yellow Nissan comes out of Stowe. The Escandia seems to be limping a little now. It's dropped down to 11th place, and he's heading for the pits. We've got 6.25 minutes on the clock, 13.5 seconds between the two leaders. Steve Tandy runs wide coming out of club corner, and Mike Donovan right up behind the Jägermeister Porsche as they go across the start-finish line. Lap time there by Steve Tandy, 2 minutes 1. Both of the other two cars below the 2-minute mark. The quicker of the two of those two is Mike Donovan. So that gap is coming down. It is now 2.7 seconds between Steve Tandy and Christoph Danzenberg.
Come down even more at the start of this lap as well. They are all now within sight of each other as they come through the loop, accelerate through Aintree. Christoph Danzenberg being chased, but doing the chasing himself as well. He wants to get on with this. He'll want to get past Steve Tandy as quickly as he can to try and give himself some breathing space over Mike Donovan.
Well, now into Brooklands, it's been drastically reduced now. Steve Tandy clearly is nursing a problem with the car. Coming up to Luffield, and Christoph Danzenberg. It's a Porsche being a Porsche, isn't it? Just quick and reliable. Not the quickest car in the race, but this is a classic bit of Porsche driving here by Christoph Danzenberg. That car touching a bit wood for it, hasn't missed a beat. It's now right up behind the Nissan as they go through Copse Corner. Mike Donovan has dropped away a little bit, probably waiting for them to sort themselves out. Here they come into Baggots.
Yeah, just into that turn now. Taking the bus that's coming in front of me. Yeah, Tandy now seen coming into Beckett's corner, and the gap down to just over a car length. And oddly enough, they've pulled away from Mike Donovan again. His pace seems to be a bit erratic, doesn't it?
Well, it may be a recurrence of that misfire that he had yesterday that's coming coming and going a bit, but down Hanger Straight go the Nissan and the Porsche into Stowe Corner. And there's 4.5 minutes on the clock, so time at least for 2 more laps, possibly 3 more laps, including the one that just started, the 2 leaders that is. 16 seconds between them. Reckon also that Peter Merrick is closing up on Rupert Cleaveley for 6th place, just 0.3 of a second between them last time through, and it may have changed by the time you see them next, Chris. That's the number 6 Lancia and Peter Merrick in the 102 Spice. So Steve Tandy maintaining his defence successfully. But the reason why Christoph Danzenberg has got right up onto the tail of Steve Tandy is not because Mike Donovan has slowed down, because Mike's just done his personal best lap of the race, because suddenly Christoph Danzenberg finds another 2 to 3 seconds in one lap, and he's right up there with the... There you are, Chris.
Yeah, bit between his teeth, hasn't he, now? They both lapped the 112 Jonathan Fay Tiger, and now there might be a chance as they're towards Brooklands for a change here. He's going to have a look at the inside in.
They're side by side as they come into the corner, and Christoph Danzenberg has timed that very well indeed, and gets into the corner on the inside line. You see that Christoph Danzenberg has raced historic Formula 1 a fair amount and knows what he's doing, and that was a perfectly executed manoeuvre. Belgium went down on the inside and has taken away 3rd place from Steve Tandy. Now, Steve's next problem is the problems aren't over, because there's a little Spice going to worry at his tail next. As they go past the national race pits, then the Jägermeister Porsche up into 3rd place. Steve Tandy down to 4th, Mike Donovan leading the C2 category in 5th place. Rupert Cleaveley, the Lancia, still keeping Peter Merrick behind him.
He was, but Peter Merrick got in front of him. But that said, they were looking like they were going to go side by side into Brooklands again, so it might have changed back. Wait and see what they come back through. 2nd, 3rd and 4th come through. Danzenberg ahead of Tandy now, and Tandy, as you say, has got Donovan to worry about. He's spun. Steve Tandy spins coming out through Beckett, right in front of Mike Donovan, and well, that was a very rapid rotation.
That was a heart in the mouth moment for Mike Donovan, no doubt, but Mike then up into 4th place with a bit of a panic, but not so much panic, but a bit of a scare as the Nissan spun. Just suddenly swapped ends, did it, Chris?
Yeah, it very, very quickly snapped away from him. So you wonder if he's maybe had some sort of handling issue, or it's dropping a bit of fluid, but it just snapped away from him, accelerating out of between Beckett's and Chapel.
Rupert Cleaveley with Peter Merrick right behind him. The Lancia just ahead of the C2 Spice, setting the C2 Spices, and through we've got time for the lap they've started plus 1 more. So next time around, Gareth Evans will start his last lap. So there we have the Lancia Rupert Cleaveley just ahead of Peter Merrick, who's going to go for the inside. This is the car that was driven to a win last year by Andy Merrick in one of the 2 races, and he's gone through, and so Peter Merrick is back up ahead for the 2nd time of asking of Rupert Cleaveley.
Good duel's been going on between that pair. Peter Merrick starting to edge away now on the other side of the circuit. Roger Wills, the 2nd place car, pretty lonely time. The car's been running okay, much quicker than everybody else, but can't do anything about the race leader, Sauber.
Is that in front of you? No, it's at Stowe Corner, so the leader has got going again. What was he thinking of? So we're getting a replay of this, just as he was lapping the Iseki Porsche number 12 that kind of turned in on him. That's the reason, isn't it? And so number 12 not being very good manners there. That's Russell Kempnick, and sending the leader into a spin. But he's gone through now to start his last lap. But Russell Kempnick turned across the bows of the leader as they went through Stowe Corner. Anyway, no harm done in a sense, but probably just as well for the state of the tyres, so they may well have been flat spotted in that spin. So here he is, and the gap between the leading car and the Lancia in 2nd place of Roger Wills down to 7 seconds, but I don't think Roger's going to be able to do anything about it in the remaining lap, unless there really is a problem with the tyres now on the leading Sauber.
Well, looks okay coming through Aintree. Pretty fast acceleration through there. Roger Wills through that part of the course now, so should be okay here. He can almost nurse it home if he needs to, but the car looks okay for the time being, the race leader up at Luffield.
Yes, going through Luffield now in the Sauber Mercedes number 62. Coming up towards Woodcote Corner. Sort of car in which Michael Schumacher first came to prominence before he became a Formula 1 driver and drove for the Sauber Mercedes team, along with Carl Bendinger and Heinz-Harald Frentzen. Here they are, here he is for the final time.
Yep, he's looked very comfortable for most of this race, apart from that incident with the back marker, but otherwise it's been a very strong drive, as you thought it might be, by Gareth Evans. So the 7 Mercedes has just got the hangers straight. Stowe, Vale, a club to deal with now, and he'll be home towards the checkered flag.
You can see as he comes into Stowe Corner in the background, the Roger Wills Lancia. Down into Vale, safely through Stowe Corner this time. Christoph Danzenberg putting away in 3rd place, and Mike Donovan 4th. Steve Tandy after his spin in 5th place. And coming up towards the checkered flag. So a good drive by Gareth Evans, no doubt about that. Used that car to good effect. There in 2nd place is Roger Wills, rounding off his racing for today. I think he's going to be pretty pleased with that 2nd place, just 4.9 seconds behind the flag, so clearly Gareth Evans easing off on that last lap. Roger Wills putting on a charge. And here's the 3rd place car, epitomising the whole ethos of Group C racing. A Porsche, the Jägermeister Porsche, number 17 of Christoph Danzenberg, the Porsche 962. A kind of perfect result to get a Porsche in the top 3, I think, if you want to get a real flavour for what Group C was all about. They were the backbone of Group C, and going across the line, I know the Jaguar was also a very important factor as well. Same, we didn't have a Jaguar, still cut Jaguar in the race, but a Porsche in 3rd place, Christoph Danzenberg, well done to him, and a great drive, as you might expect, from Mike Donovan in the leading Group C2 Spice. He takes 4th place.
And Ian, Peter Merrick was flying after Steve Tandy, so that
yeah, he is, yes. Thanks for that, Chris. Here they come across the line. The yellow Nissan just scraping across the line ahead of Peter Merrick in the 2nd of the... He was delayed in that 1st corner, Schmozzle, so he takes 6th place, Peter Merrick, just Mike Donovan's number behind the car ahead of him, 1.111 seconds, which also happens to be Mike Donovan's number, 111. But Peter Merrick's number, of course, 102. Finishes in 6th place, Rupert Cleaverley in 7th place in the number 6 Lancia, and yet to come through and take 8th place, number 33 Henrik Lindberg in the Tic Tac Porsche, Tic Tac Nils car, and Russell Kempnick also to come through and take the flag. And dusk is really settling now over Silverstone, isn't it? When you settle more, dusk is settling over Silverstone, and we've got Lindberg coming through. He takes 8th place. Russell Kempnick in 9th place in the, yep, there he is, number 12 Porsche, and in 10th place, rounding out the top 10, number 9 Nick Chester with his Spice SE88. So the top 10, Gareth Evans, Roger Wills, Christoph Danzenberg, Mike Donovan, Steve Tandy, and we're going to see some highlights just to say one of them will be probably that finish between Peter Merrick and Steve Tandy. So we've got another of Silverstone TV's arty shots of the setting sun, and we'll see some highlights beginning with that start. This is another attempt to try and fathom out who hit whom, who did what with which and to whom as they went into the corner, but difficult to tell there. But it looked as though it could have been a tap from the Lancia number 4, and then of course once that first incident had occurred, other things happened. Just a plea again, heartfelt plea from David Mercer to the marshals at Chapel. Please could he have his windscreen back? I know the marshals won't abandon it, they'll look after it. Marshals very good at returning the components of cars. There we got the running 4th and 5th they were at that stage, the Jägermeister Porsche ahead of Mike Donovan. There is the Momo Nissan, and the Vescandia trying to squeeze through on the inside, didn't quite make it ahead of Henrik Lindberg in the Tic Tac Porsche, Mike Donovan in the number 111 Spice, and there the Jägermeister car. Good overtake manoeuvre done by Christoph Danzenberg, and then we have that, yes, number 12, Russell Kempnick, shutting the door on Gareth Evans, who had that spin. There's the checkered flag, and a win for Gareth Evans. So lights ablaze, the sun sets, and the great atmosphere settles over Silverstone. And so from Ian Titchmarsh in the commentary box overlooking Abbey, it's good evening. Look forward to seeing you all tomorrow.
And what a dramatic race we've had. These fabulous machines around Silverstone in the twilight with an incredibly exciting race for us. Third place in doubt right to the end. But up there on the top step, Gareth Evans with the Mercedes. On the second step, Roger Wills with the Lancia. And on the third step, the Belgian driver, Christophe Dansenbourg, in the Porsche 962. Let's have a word with Gareth Evans, driver of the mighty Mercedes. What a machine, fantastic stuff.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's a great privilege to drive that car, I would say, but it is fantastic and around here. It was a shame that Nick Manassian couldn't drive the Peugeot, which is a great shame, but it's great, it's fantastic.
Since the first time you stepped in it, how long did it take you to get to grips with it? Because that is a mighty machine, isn't it?
Yeah, by about next year, I should think. It is mighty, but I'm quite gentle with it, and it's quite gentle with me. It is amazingly easy to drive. Yeah.
Looks and sounds great. You've rounded out the day by taking the win in the Group C. Congratulations. British driver Gareth Evans. In second place, New Zealand driver Roger Wills. Roger, in the Lancia. That is a lovely looking car, isn't it?
Yeah, thanks, Russell. It's certainly pretty and a little bit earlier than some of the other stuff out there, but ran very well tonight and had a good run. It was great run.
There were some problems during the race, obviously, and it was a shame to see one of your fellow Lancias having a problem, but seeing those three cars out there, lovely stuff.
Yeah, it was beautiful. We had some photos over there earlier because all three of them haven't been together since the 1980s, so it was really nice and great to see them all out. It's fantastic.
Well, thanks for bringing it and letting us see it out on Silverstone.
Pleasure.
Roger Wills in second place in the Lancia LC2. And over to Christophe Dansenbourg, the Belgian driver, with the Porsche 962. Well done for your third place, hard-earned and taken very near the end.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I had a very poor start and I had some catching up to do afterwards. And yeah, I was fourth behind Steve Tandy for some time, but I managed to pass him at the end. Quite happy. Yeah.
It is, of course, I mean, the Porsche 962, the great car of the Group C era, isn't it? So successful, so dramatic.
Yeah, it is indeed. I'm very happy with the car. I especially like the livery because they've been in different colors, but I like the Jägermeister livery very much. And yeah, it's a beautiful car.
Yeah, it's a big part of Group C racing, isn't it, the livery? It's marvellous to see.
Indeed. Well, I could say that maybe they all look like each other, but the livery makes a difference, and I like that orange color. It stands out. Yeah.
You're buying me a Jägermeister later.
Yeah, probably if I find some here, yeah.
Christophe, well done, third place.
Thank you.
And now let's go to the presentation for the Group C race to close this evening's programme. In third place, Christophe Dansenbourg in the Porsche 962. In second place, Roger Wills with the Lancia LC2. And the winner of the Group C race tonight, Gareth Evans in the Mercedes.
Thanks very much indeed, Russell. And the last of our podium, look at that, still a lovely